Welcome to Treehouse Talks, the podcast where bold ideas meet practical action. I'm your host, Dr. Edward Klinger. Around here, we often talk about the VISTA framework: velocity, innovation, simplicity, tenacity, and audacity, as the mindset and method for ambitious business leaders. But today, we're zooming in on the one force that cuts across every part of VISTA: storytelling. Because here's the thing: fast execution, velocity; big ideas, innovation; elegant clarity, simplicity; grit, tenacity; and brave moves, audacity. None of it sticks unless people feel something. Take Oprah Winfrey. She didn't build a global brand by rattling off bullet points. She told stories of struggle, of hope, of transformation. And that emotional resonance created a movement. So what if your business could do the same thing? Well, my very special guest has built her entire company around making that happen. Over to you, Annie.
Hi, I'm Annie Olufuwa, and my company is called Storied, and we are specialists in storytelling for business. And people ask us, well, what does that actually mean? And I always say to them, well, we've heard the well-known expression, facts tell, but stories sell. But what does that look like practically? How does that translate into some kind of service for business owners? So what we've done at Storied is we've taken that concept of how stories can help you attract clients, build loyalty, make an emotional connection, and we've put that into proven processes that our clients go through a journey on with us, and it has the outcome of business growth. And that's what we do at Storied.
Annie, I love where you're going with this. So let's dig deeper. Why should people tell stories in the first place? And from a business perspective, why does storytelling even matter?
Why should people tell stories? Why do businesses need to tell stories? That's an excellent question. And what the answer that we give at Storied is that business owners often make the mistake of overlooking the fact that purchasing decisions are emotional decisions. People shop with their left brain, but they buy with their right brain. So when you talk about what you do, you have to talk to the right brain, and that is talking with an emotional emphasis. And by analysing your stories, you will find out what that emotional emphasis is that's portrayed or delivered through your business or product. Think about Audi. I often say this when I'm doing my public speaking. I say, what does Audi sell? Cars, right? Obviously. But actually, when you think about their marketing and branding, what they're selling is sophistication. They're selling slight superiority in a good way. They're selling technology. Then you have to say to yourself, now I understand the emotional promise behind them. What do I sell? What is my emotional promise? If you struggle to come up with that, you will find it through analysing your stories, because stories talk to the emotions and they talk from the emotions. We understand the stories that you need to tell because we look at what the stories tell us. And that's what we do at Storied. We help you find that golden strand of emotional promise, and then we channel that into content creation, marketing, sales processes, talks and presentations, getting that message across in the way that truly resonates.
Annie, so let's bring it into the real world challenges your clients face. What's the actual problem you help solve for business owners? And how does storytelling come into play when someone struggles to explain what they do in a way that really resonates?
So yes, a problem that we solve. Business owners, companies often come to us because they have the problem that they don't know how to articulate what they do. We've talked about the fact that we help find the emotional promise, but there's also a challenge sometimes of just expressing what you do in a way that lands with impact. So it's a words and phrases challenge, and that's what we also do at Storied. We find ways for you to actually verbally or in writing express yourself clearly and with impact. So an example, I had a client, one of my first clients. She is a remarkable lady. She's a coach that heals various traumas and psychological issues and challenges as an equine therapist. That means that she gets her clients to interact with horses, and it creates all kinds of breakthroughs. Now, when people hear that, they love the idea of it, but there's always going to be question marks. How does that work? Does it work? Is it going to be worth my investment? And so what we did is we found what we call her trademark story. So the trademark story helps cut through that confusion, but it also speaks for you if you struggle to articulate what you do. And the story that we came up with was a client that she had, which was a 16-year-old girl that was suffering incredibly violent seizures up to 5 times a week because she was under an incredible amount of stress in her home life and her working life, her school life. And after she worked with my client, interacting with the horses, those seizures actually were reduced. If in the first 2 weeks they were noticing a difference. They dropped from 5 seizures a week down to 1, and after working with her for literally just two more weeks, so in a month, they'd stopped completely. I'm hoping you can see by sharing that story, it cuts through any question marks people might have about, well, how does this work? Because the emotional resonance and the clarity of the cure and the solution becomes clear through that story. And then you get the empathy, because obviously she's helping a child, and all of that helps people engage and want to interact with the services. So one of the biggest problems, as I say, is articulation and impact and helping people understand what you do. That's what storytelling for business can do for you.
Well, what a brilliant conversation, Annie. Thank you so much for showing us that storytelling isn't just a nice to have. It's a strategic business tool that brings clarity, emotion, and connection to everything we do. From helping businesses articulate their value to uncovering those golden strands of emotional promise. Your work at Storied is a masterclass in how to turn words into impact. And until next time, keep leaning into VISTA, velocity, innovation, simplicity, tenacity, and audacity. And don't forget the story that ties it all together. Thanks for joining us on Treehouse Talks. I'm Dr. Edward Klinger. See you in the next episode.